Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today, she is a legend in the adult entertainment industry and just an all-around legend overall within her beauty, her strength, and in her dominance. The one, the only Miss Dyanna Loren. How are you, Diana?
I'm good. It's nice to be here with you.
Wow, the feeling is mutual. I got to tell you, if you look at really as the adult entertainment industry as a whole, and you look at porn in itself, I've always viewed it as an art form, much like anything in life. We're all applying our crafts. So I got to tell you, the way that you've painted your canvas over the years is absolutely wonderful. I love what you do.
Thank you so much. You're flattering me.
I mean, truth is truth. I think you look at it in so many different realms. I mean, we grow up in the world of pop culture, movies, and everything that showcases sex symbol, internal and external beauty, the whole nine. I've always looked at it with the analogy. It's kind of like the joy of painting. And I know it may be a weird analogy, but how Bob Ross would do those paintings in 30 minutes. He starts with a little something that by the end of those 30 minutes, you got masterpieces, you got mountains, you got fountains, you got everything from masterpieces and woods and trees and everything. So it's how you do
Right.
it with the right lens is how you should work it. Like look at your art form as like Bob Ross looks at his painting, so to speak.
That's a good way of looking at it. It is. It is an art form, just like anything else. Uh, our industry, in fact, what I was just actually editing was a piece that had to do with people that like the industry and people who don't like the industry. I myself do find it extremely artful in what we do. I don't think that I could do it if it wasn't. I grew up wanting to be Gypsy Rose Lee. So, with all of the fans and the this and the that and being an extrovert. So,
I mean, I've always looked at it like this. I mean, how you have the AVNs and how you have what's pretty much like the Grammys, the Emmys, the Super Bowl, if you will, of the adult
mhm.
entertainment industry. You have all these award shows. You have all of these cons now, like Exotica and everything, for everybody to meet everybody. You're taking everybody who was once felt it was very taboo to express themselves and showcase their uniqueness and their overall preferences and to really fulfill that sweet, sweet fantasy baby, to quote Mariah Carey. And now everybody's really expanding their horizons and really letting everything flow. I think that's how you have to be comfortable within thyself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you should be. It is something that you need to actually be comfortable with who you are to do it and have the longevity in this industry that it takes.
Do you think it's also kind of like one of those misconceptions too? Because everybody, when they see a pornographic film, any adult work, content creator, however you want to identify it, a lot of people will always say, they just look at it like it's such easy stuff. It's like, no, it's not just sex. It's lighting, it's visual, it's everything behind the scenes, down camera. You want to produce that great product, that great content to really uphold with what you're consuming. So there's really a lot of work that goes into it.
Oh, not only is it not just the act of sex, we are more athletes than just somebody playing a part. There is, I mean, I've done movies, and granted, the movies have changed over time, but I've done movies that took us 24 hours to do one scene. And you have to get ready for the scene, you have to do the stills for the scene, you do have to do the lighting, and you have to adjust the lighting, and you have to be in positions for a longer period of time than people actually realize that takes to make that 10 minutes or 20 minutes of whatever length the scene may be.
I've always kind of classified it as this, and I'm glad that you brought up that point. I remember as a kid, like there was a video on an adult side of like behind the scenes of one of the films. One of the films was featuring Dana Hayes, who was back in the day doing her thing. She did a scene for a website called My First Sex Teacher. It was a part of the Naughty America franchise,
Hmm.
and you see her, just the camera and everything who she's working with. You see a lot that goes into it, like you mentioned, the still shots, and I always found that very fascinating, just because of the fact that what we see on TV, like I'm a kid that grew up in the days of like the Cinemaxes, like the Real Sex, the Taboo Confessions, the Cat House, the series, and any film with Nicole Sheridan at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So you get to see like all of that wrapped up in one. So I mean, you're definitely seeing different layers of what goes into the craft.
Yeah, you actually do. And what people don't realize is that back in the day, there were no medications or anything. It was all raw, it was all real. And the men, the woodsmen that we had, truly had to be that. And you had to be able to get your body contorted in different situations and open up for camera and take the time to, okay, so now you're into this sexual activity, but you have to stop what you're doing, You have a thrust here and there. You have to pull to certain lengths so that a camera can come in and take that picture. And then times that by 500 pictures. And then each position, you're doing that same exact sort of thing. That's why I say we are more athletes than just somebody who does a sexual act.
And we mentioned weird analogies earlier with the Bob Ross thing. I'll give another analogy to put into people's head with what you perfectly described. Think of it as how when MTV and you would always see making the video of like whatever your favorite artist was, and they put that into it and they show the shoots from night and day and how they do that. Think of it like making the video, but with porn, with adult stuff. Think of it kind of
Oh,
like that.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But I think, but it's always so. Again, I always mention the fascination behind it because I was always one. And there's going to be people in this world that we say it all the time. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them. But I've always
Mhm.
the feature of just like, you know what? If somebody's happy doing what they're doing, let them. But also number two, too, you see it now in today's day and age where everybody says don't yuck anybody's yum. But I think in today's day and age with the introduction more of OnlyFans during COVID, you see many vids, fansly, loyal fans, and everything now. From where porn was to where it is now, you have more people opening up, like I mentioned, but also at the same time, too, the camaraderie's there. There's a community for all of this, and it's great to see
Mhm.
and kind of expand like this.
It is a great community. And it takes before or say the direction that I came from. While I did have a lot of different jobs, I danced on the road, I had a fan club I ran, I did a website for a while. I did all of these different things. I directed, acted in the movies, but at the same time, I had a movie company that backed me. I had an agent that backed me in different regards to those things. You have women now that are just taking all of that and it's all on themselves. So while it has expanded, it has also given its way to being able to take some of that control of what was going on to yourself. And, if you want to just do girls or just do yourself or whatever your speciality is, you can do it right from the comfort of your home.
Absolutely. And I've always loved the mentality of DIY, if you will, the do it yourself mentality, taking yourself and really expanding one's being, one's spirit, and putting it into their craft, into their love, if you will. And I've always said this, you really get to see a lot of people nowadays, especially really not just opening up, but a lot of the talent that we see today really take a lot of influence from women like yourself and everything. Because I've always said this, there's everything that goes into a scene, whether there's role play or anything. There's so many different categories and so many different variety to it, which you need. But a lot of them
Mhm.
are making it their own, and you definitely see the inspiration taken.
Mhm. Mhm. You do. And it's nice to see them take charge of their own whatever it is that they choose to do. And I appreciate that in them. I do find after just going to my first convention in over 15, 16, 17 years, um, Sharon Mitchell was there with me and a few other people that, Lynn LeMay, myself, Melissa Hill, and so many of these people don't know where they came from. They don't know what we had to go through to make it so that they could do this. They have no idea. And that I find they really should do a little bit of the research. It's kind of like your history is helps you not fall back into that. And with a lot of the things that are happening these days in politics and what have you, um, women I think need to stay a little bit more up with what happened in the past so that that paved the way for them.
First of all, that was beautifully and eloquently said. I definitely have to go on to your point on that because that's definitely really enriching. No, and I truly mean this because I've interviewed people of all facets of life. I love what I do, and especially including you in this forum. I've always looked at it like this, man. You look at people in music and people in wrestling, like you find it like a lot of people back in the day, they're mixing substances, they're doing pills. And with today's day and age of mental health and everything and really setting the boundaries for oneself, you're in a day and age where you don't want to kind of like retract back to that, but women like yourself paved the way, and it also paved the way for people to do it this way as opposing this way. You're kind of keeping people
Mhm.
on course than what it used to be.
Mhm. Mhm. Cuz I can remember there were times there were lapses in how you could do it. it was legal to sell, but it wasn't legal to make. It was, so you had different facets of different things that you could and couldn't do that we all went through. I went and spoke in front of the Senate in California to be able to make it so that it made more sense. That we were not, it wasn't a prostitution thing. This was part of the acting part of it. You were paying us to act. And if we could sell it, then we had to be able to legally make it.
Right. And I've always looked at it even in today's day and age. I mean, when people try to put the argument out there that sex work is not work, I'm like, hell yeah, it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff always triggers me and annoys me because it's a business. You're an entity in your own brand. And I think people, they automatically assume it's kind of like the automatic assumption, if you will, even today's day and age in social media where they could be crude or send unsolicited pics just because you work in said field. And it's like, wait a minute, no, slow your roll. That's not how it is because at the end of the day, too, you're human beings. It's a professional, it's a business, and you have to act with sense of decorum like in anything in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it is the oldest, coming down to all of it, sex
Right.
work itself, calling it sex work.
Yeah.
Um, it's the oldest profession, whatever form of it that you choose to do, and I have no judgment for any of it. Um, Courtesans, you have they sometimes got to make policy with kings and queens and everything else. So if you had the ability to control somebody's libido, you could rule a world.
And I've always looked at this from also the historical stuff to add on to your point. I always use the two S's when it comes to the adult entertainment industry: safe and spectacular. You're doing your craft safely, but in spectacular fashion. I always look at it like this: testing is so important. My goodness gracious. Like that is something that really takes a lot for everybody. They have to be rightfully tested, and you're doing what you're doing. I'm very big on that to see women like yourself and women like anybody who gets into it. Testing is so important, and you got to keep everybody safe.
Well, and that was the thing about have so important to me having Sharon Mitchell standing next to me. I don't know if you know her history and the things that she actually did for this industry and created the very first testing center that we had instead of having to get a doctor's note to be able to go to have a test to do blah, 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 blah. She created a safe place, went and got her doctorate so that she could open a facility that would make it so that we were comfortable getting all the tests that we needed. And to have somebody like that go to a convention and people be kind of going, "Who is that?" That's blasphemy to me. They should all know why right across from us was somebody going, "Hey, if you're going to do scenes while you're here, we have a testing facility right here." Who started that? This woman standing next to me right here. I mean, they really should keep there should be seminars on the things that actually happened previous to those people coming.
First and foremost, love how you worded that as well, because she's another one, like you mentioned, shout out to Sharon. We need more of that from like a seminar, like you mentioned, but also like a beginner's guide or like a guide to everything, because that keeps everybody aware, keeps everybody safe, but also at the same time, too, information is key, knowledge is power. So you're kind of like your own information superhighway, but with guides
Right.
and everything.
Hmm. And the industry has totally changed over the course of time. Like anything else, it has its own evolution. And some of it I don't understand, some of it I don't agree with, and some of it I applaud. But I think that would be same said for anybody coming up in a generation, just like our parents would say about Metallica, like different generations would say about music. God forbid rock and roll did anything for anybody. The same thing we can say about the people who came before. It's evolving into something else, and we kind of cock our heads to the side a little bit sometimes.
I agree. I'm guilty of it as myself as a millennial with a lot of the Gen Zers now, so I completely understand with a lot of the stuff that's out now. But I've always looked at it like this too, like you mentioned, bands like Metallica and bands that came out even from the '60s, the '70s, and now how music has evolved. I
Hmm. Hmm.
it's one of it's one of music's great storytellers. Like my mom was big into the Beatles, the Stones. My dad loved like Poison. He was in all like everything. So my music taste comes from all different genres. And I think if you have the right story, number one, but number two, it's vibes for everybody, and you never know who you're going to resonate, which is so key and palpable.
Right. You don't. You have no clue.
And I gotta say this about you. You definitely resonate in your own right. Let's talk about Bad Wives here because, Diana, I gotta tell you, looking at that film, taking it back to the 90s, great stuff. I gotta tell you, never going to a supermarket or a store. My goodness gracious. Definitely held one's attention and definitely was so amazing to watch. Talk about the film.
Well, first of all, let me say, have you seen the actual video version of it?
I'll
Or
be
did you just see the DVD version?
I'll be honest with you. I saw the DVD version.
Okay. If you ever get a chance. Now, back in the day when we actually made those movies, there was two sides of Vivid. There was the DVD side and the video side. And while it was actually made on film and a fantastic movie, the two sides didn't really get along. So the DVD actually got most of the side footage. The actual great, fantastic footage of some of the stuff that actually happened is only on the actual video, like an actual tape that was a video. So if you ever get a chance, try to get a copy of those, and especially any video that came from Vivid back in the day. The video is actually going to be better than the DVD itself. That being said, doing some of the things that we did in that movie, in an actual grocery store, um, where some of the people, when we had to start shooting, didn't realize, and nobody was standing at the door. People came in to shop while we were actually filming some of the scenes, eating the cookies. So there was a lot of things that went on while we were doing those movies, and Melissa was just absolutely fabulous to work with and to have fun with because she does have that shy nature about her. And so to be able to push her around a little bit in those scenes, I just had an absolute blast doing. Um it was a very hot day, the day that we were filming by the pool, and when John Doe pushes me and pushes me into the pool, I actually was loving it. They were having a hard time getting me back out of the pool. So there, a lot of camaraderie and fun and family happened while we were doing that movie. And it just happened to come out just more fabulous than we could have imagined.
I got to tell you, first of all, Cookie Monster, like over the intercom, is just absolutely the Cookie Police just cracks me up every time I see that scene. I'm not gonna lie, but stuff like that, like the little subtleties, the intricacies and nuances, definitely made the film worthwhile. And I got to tell you, the sex scenes are on point, very hot, and that's also one of the things I love about your films to really put this into the forefront. I think your authenticity, your genuinity, and you just having fun what you do definitely sets you apart and raises you up. I got to tell you, that's one of the things I love about your films.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That is the I actually came from, and which you were leading into, the music industry. I came from the music industry. I had a horrible experience there. All of the things that you're part of the reason that I'm coming back out is because so many things have been said about the music industry. And if you happen to find any of my old interviews, you'll find they'll say, well, if you were in the music industry, why did you go into this? Because if I was going to get screwed, I was going to get paid for it. And what all of that leads to is my authenticity and who I am was not going to be taken away by the music industry. If I was going to do that, I was going to do it in front of people. I was going to do it where I could be me, where I could express my sexuality, my bisexuality. I could be who I wanted to be without somebody telling me that I had to go give somebody a blowjob so that I could actually be on somebody's album, or I could do an album, or I could do this, or I could do that. I was going to do it my way. So my authenticity and who I am is the most important thing to me.
Well, I got to tell you, that's what makes you you, and I got to say you are wonderful on that front. So we'll definitely put that over. But I got to tell you, I was listening to Thousand Year Itch a couple days ago because I knew we were doing this show, and I definitely want to catch back up with it. I got to tell you, Stroke of Midnight, we're talking about Psycho Magnet. The whole entire album has a great feel, and I'll put this into perspective for my pop culture nerds out there. I got to tell you that it reminds me back in the day when you're watching As Seen on TV MusicSpace.com, where they would have the Edge and Buzz ballads and all those type of commercials back in the day. It was very reminiscent for me. It brought some goodness to my soul. And I got to tell you, from what I listened to, I thought it was really, really good. I definitely had a joy listening to that album.
Well, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun doing it. Um, it brought a lot of controversy to my life because I was very, very loyal to the people that I was doing it with. We did most of those songs were in one AVN or another over the course of the years, and then we just decided to put a lot of them together. Um, I didn't agree as much with the production of it, but they wanted it to have an old-fashioned sound, and that's what they got. I was very proud of, believe it or not, the one thing that I was the most proud of on that album was Helter Skelter. I did it in one take.
Wow.
That is an extraordinarily hard song to do, and I hit all of the high notes, all of the screeching, all of the everything, the slide, all in one take, and I couldn't be more proud of that.
You absolutely should. I mean, listening to that song, the uniqueness, the range that you got, the eclectic vibes, it definitely worked. You definitely hit every note imaginable and then some, so to speak.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I'm actually going to be exploring. I have to cut. Unfortunately, um, Mark, who wrote most all of it, and he used to be the forefront of the band that was in the AVN Awards. Him and his brother Gary still does produce the AVN Awards. I want to try to get the rights to be able to remaster it so that I can get a little bit more of a modern sound from it and re-release it with some friends that I'm actually going to be doing some other music with. So there is going to be a lot of music actually coming from me soon.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. And if it's anything like I heard, I definitely will be tuning in. You definitely have me on that. You got me on that front, absolutely. And I got to
Thank
tell you,
you.
you're very welcome. And I got to tell you something else, Miss Diana Loren. We definitely saw not only music on that front, but I got to tell you, I'm working with Marilyn Manson, Moby. Like, I'll tell you
Hmm.
straight up about Moby. Like, I remember back in the day, oh Lord, my troubles with God, the South Side with Gwen Stefani, of no doubt. Like, Moby was very big. Marilyn Manson, of course, The Dope Show, The Beautiful People, Disposable Teens, Personal Jesus, Kaboom, Kaboom. This is the new shit. We'll be here all day. Talk about working with these two amazing musicians and other ones who are great at their craft and just such a variety and the eclecticness of music overall.
Well, working with them, with Marilyn Manson, um, that was an unusual experience because when I walked into the studio, there was sitting at the console this very tall, very unassuming, kind of dorky kid. And I had no idea. I just introduced myself and said, "Do you know when everybody's going to get here?" And he's all, "Well, I don't know who else is coming, but we can get started if you'd like." And it was Marilyn. Just so kind and gentle, and was all excited mainly because I was a vegan and so was he. And he was like, "Nobody else wants to eat what I want to eat. So this is going to be so much fun. We get to or I'm going to show you some of my great this, and he was just all excited. So sometimes the reputations of people precede them in not necessarily a kind way, but if you meet them when they're not putting on that persona, it's a totally different experience.
Well, that's the thing too. I've always looked at. First of all, big Marilyn Manson fan here. Loved him ever since his debut to where we are now. Probably one of the most creative minds out there. It's like, what you're seeing, Brian Warner, the man, not Marilyn Manson, the gimmick with the breasts.
Exactly.
That's what I've always said. I think you also have to look at it from a stance too. Like, you look at Moby, you look at what he's done on the South Side. He's just also another one, very articulate, very creative. So you get to really see them, like you mentioned, the authenticity. That's just them being them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Moby, Um, Strangely enough, with the movie that I did with him, that was not my voice. And he and I both detached from the movie. And the releases on mine said that it was not to be released if my voice was not on it. And somehow, some way, the guy ended up doing it, and I could have sued and this and that. And Moby's company wasn't happy because he had the dildos on his head. They were like, "What are you doing? That's gonna, and she's a porn star and nah, nah, nah." But everybody had fun, and at the end of the day, it's kind of a cult classic kind of a thing. And I do wish my voice would have been on the actual movie, but to act in it and to do it, and actually things that people don't really know, Santa Claus was played by Stephen St. Croix.
Oh, wow. Okay. It all comes full circle, which, by the way, you and Steven St. Croix have great chemistry. I have to say that right now. If you want to see a dynamic duo, folks, if you've not seen these two together, I got to say you both do definitely nail it. You had such great chemistry with him.
Thank you. We actually dated for 5 years.
Hot damn.
It
Okay.
was, yeah, and that chemistry never went away. And then later on, we did a mainstream movie that a friend of ours, strangely enough, coming full circle to Moby, a friend of ours that we met through doing that movie, who was producing on that movie, wanted to do this movie, and it's called Bon Année. And so I helped produce it, and we went down to Argentina and had a fabulous time. Well, when I came back, I ended up getting divorced, and Stephen St. Croix and I started dating again. The passion and everything was still there. It was still that same. He's one of those people that he is right there in the moment, whether he's doing a scene, or doing something at home. The way that not only is his acting on point, all the time, but when he had somebody there, they were always secure in the fact that he would take control. They didn't have to worry about a thing. If somebody said open up to the camera, the girl didn't have to pay attention. He would do it and still be eye to eye with her. So he did a very good job, especially with newer people coming in, that they didn't have to worry about, well, I don't know what to do, or have I, or a guy just going, God, this girl doesn't do anything. He would bring that out in them. And I really appreciated that about his work.
And I got to tell you something, not only is that some of the sexiest stuff, but also number two, I think when you see gems like this, and I'm a sucker for the classics and the retro stuff, I'm an old soul at heart. And I think stuff like that really does resonate and especially gets to be introduced to the younger generation. And I think it all comes together, like you mentioned, full circle and full swoop, so to speak. And I got to tell you
Hmm.
something, like, first of all, on being an AVN Hall of Famer, rightfully deserving, you deserve the recognition. Not only how does
Thank you.
you're welcome. But not only how does that feel, but also number two, that is like the ultimate prize in the business.
Um, to be recognized for what you do is a wonderful feeling. It um it makes you know that you're good at your craft. They don't just let everybody in. They did kind of lower how many years you had to be in, and at the time when I got it, you had to be in 15 years or more, which that doesn't really happen that often, So that in and of itself, I felt really good about. I felt good about my work being recognized, and then to have so many people all over the world recognized Bad Wives and Kama Sutra and The Zone as some of the best movies made. That, to me, I mean, what a gift. I was in the right place at the right time.
It's one of those things too, like you mentioned, being the gift in itself. I think all in all, and all, not to get too spiritual here, but I always look at it like this: with what we give to our industry, where we give with our souls. I think at the end of the day, we all are meant to exist to inspire, so to speak. So I think if you can inspire someone and your existence is more, more than like with how you are in this life, I think that definitely resonates with a lot of people. So not only kudos and love and respect for your work, but I think you definitely resonate with people, and it gives you a good reputation and decorum with everyone.
Well, I have found over the years that the type of fans that I have are very genuine and very respectful. It's not somebody going, God, you got the best looking pussy in the, it, I, coming from being a 60-year-old, 61-year-old woman now, to be able to have people just say, you taught me how to respect a woman. You taught me about safe sex. You taught me that about love making, not, oh man, the way you took that donkey punch is just, I mean, there there was a different sort of a world back then, and had somebody that was 18 wanting to learn about those things, I would hand him one of my movies. I can't say I would hand him something that came out 20 years later, you know? There is definitely a difference between what we were trying to get across and what is coming across now. And not with everybody, but just, some. It's more shock value.
Of course. And I think I always find myself going back to that. Like, you got to understand, like, all right, so I was a teenager, 2005, 2006. I was about 13 or 14 at the time. Like, I remember when my first sex teacher and then my friend's hot moms and the naughty offices came out, like looking at those films. And I know you got to do a scene with Danny Wilde for my friend's hot mom, which is still another one of my favorites of yours because you absolutely rocked it. But I look at it from stuff like that, like you see where it is then and where it is now with the introduction of like the X hamsters, the X videos, the porn hubs, the red tubes. I think definitely has come across a lot. But I think for me, and again, being the old soul, like I can appreciate like back in the 80s when you had Ginger Lynn doing kinky business, or you had women like yourself and just Nina Hartley's of the world. Like that stuff really resonates with people. And I think nowadays it's more for the views and the likes and the socials and stuff. And don't get me wrong, social media has its goods and its bads. But I think we're in a day and age now where more it's like this when it should be like this. And there's some sense of camaraderie that is lost, not with everybody, but there's a difference, a change in scenery when it comes with the world is politically and overall societally wise.
Well, my comment to that would be that most of what happened is you had all of these people that started in the 70s, went into the 80s, and over the course of time, it was so you had just the sex going on, then all of a sudden everybody was shaved. Then all of a sudden we were doing anal. Then all of a sudden it was this. None of that had anything to do with what you were going to watch when you came up in age. It had to do with the directors getting tired of what they were filming and they wanted something to excite them. So over the course of time, it's like having too much money or having too much chocolate. It loses its it loses its excitement. So piece by piece, I can remember sitting on a set, and I don't remember exactly what the situation was that made me say it, but I always come back to the comment that I made, which was, one of these days we're going to be doing a flying, flaming anal. And I kid you not, 2 weeks later, somebody did a Cirque du Soleil thing and they blew fire out of their ass into a cock.
You put it into the universe.
Why? Why? Was that something that you, as you were coming into watching it, whether you were an adult or not, hopefully you were, you know what I'm saying? That's not for me to judge, but was that what you needed to see? Or were you seeing a regular loving, passionate blowjob into a sex scene, into oral, or learning how to do those things from a normal perspective? Normal, was that going to be something that would excite you? If you've never seen anything before, that blowjob and what's going on is going to excite you just as much, if not more, than the other stuff. The other stuff is shock value. It's something for people who've had too much chocolate. It's something that each one of those people needed for their own desires. And then it was going to be, did you see what they did on this movie? As opposed to, God, this movie was actually well made and it was great and the sex scenes were fucking hot. It wasn't that anymore. It was, how far can we go and then get people like you said about the Instagrams and the this and that, how far can we go before people actually want to see it for the shock value?
So first and foremost, that is a lot to take in. Number one, but number two, you said that eloquently, and I'm glad because I love having these conversations about this. So everybody just wants to go viral now. That's the big thing.
Hmm.
All the viral
Hmm.
moment. When like I mentioned, like I saw, like I mentioned, seeing the scene with you and Danny Wilde and doing the stuff with my friend's hot mom, and I'll use my friend's hot mom for example. I think of it like fantasy, like in real lifetime. Like who doesn't have that hot mom that you're just like, my God, what a beautiful woman that is, and to have that experience, or like my
Hmm.
sex teacher, like we have all had that one teacher, and I can say that right now, and I'll give a shout out to her, Miss Carpenito. How you doing? Like I had a chemistry teacher in high school. Like she used to wear like the dresses, beautiful woman and a lovely woman at that. She used to have a rose tattooed on her ankle, and I would sometimes drop my pencil and just do that for like a brief second. But I'm a kid, I'm a teenager. I can notice
Right.
the beauty of it. So you're taking that fantasy and it's almost like becoming real life. Like I can watch that. I can watch, for example, Naughty Office, because who didn't have that coworker that you're like, my God, she's smoking, and you have that fantasy because we all want that, and it's a sensual scene in the process. Like that doesn't get me off by seeing like the Cirque du Soleil flaming shit out the ass and all that stuff. That does.
Hmm.
I think that's just over the top, and it's just zaniness just to be zany. When you don't
Hmm.
have all natural, love making foundation, hot, sexy vibes, and
Totally agree.
you're just doing it to doing it. My apologies for the rant, but it's true.
No, no, no. I mean, I rant as well. When you are passionate about something that you're talking about, that's
Yep.
kind of what happens.
Yeah, I never understood that. Like it doesn't get me. Like you don't get me. It's like with the viral stuff now for social media, people just want to do stupid shit and challenges and stuff, and I'm like, why? Like I don't understand how that was fun. Like there was a streamer on YouTube. For those that know who Clavicular is, like he like OD'd like on stream, and his like posse had to like carry him out. I'm like, bro, you're taking all this shit, like 5 hour energies mixed with this with like steroids and all this crap. It's like I don't know why you need to do that to get views, number one, but number two, it's not the kind of good exposure that you need, because none of that what you're doing makes me want to go, man, I need to try this, because you're just risking your health, you're risking your mind and your body, and for what? For stupid views? It's all asinine if you ask me. I don't get it.
Mhm.
People enjoy what they enjoy.
Yeah, they do. And the destruction of things and the animal abuse and the this and the that that goes on because of people wanting views. It's disgusting. It really is. And if that makes me sound old, then more power to it. I don't care. But we need to have more love in this world.
Agreed. Agreed. I always look at it like this. So I'll make another MTV reference. Not everything is "Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville and welcome to Jackass." You don't have to do
Right.
Jackass all the time.
Right. And even that, I can remember becoming very uncomfortable. It's like, why do I want to watch this? I want to watch things that lift me up. I don't want to laugh at somebody getting hurt. That's never my thing. I'd
Listen,
rather watch a blowjob.
I'm right there with you on that front. I'd rather watch anything than that, especially
Mhm.
the sexual side. It's like, look, Steve-O's very popular, but it's like I don't need to see this man get a stapler to his testicles. Like that hurts. It's like why would you want to watch that? But hey, that's people. Like I'd rather watch. Like I remember at the time when I was a kid, Spider-Man was such a big movie. Of course, Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst. Everybody talks about that infamous scene with the kiss in the rain and how that was
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
like that is such a very sensual and just romantic scene. And then you did the porn parody Spider Babe, which was just she gets bit by the spider, but instead of saving him like they do, she's having sex with the people that she saves. They took what Spider-Man was and they made it from the female standpoint, and it was hot, it was sexy. I got to tell you, like stuff like that works.
Yeah, it does. I was doing parodies before they were actually called parodies. So they work very well in our industry.
I gotta tell you, one of the weirdest ones I will say that it kind of made me laugh because it's almost kind of like apropos with how you really plan out the porn parody. There was a porn parody of the Jersey Shore, and I thought to myself, isn't that kind of like art imitating life? Because if you watch the Jersey Shore, they're just going to the smush room to have sex. They're working at the club, they're partying. So it's like, how can you make a porn parody something that's real life? Because that's pretty much all the show was. If you take out the t-shirts and the working out, and the gym and the tanning and the laundry and all that, it's just sex with people from the club. So you're kind
Yeah,
of like I thought that was funny how they tried to
yeah.
interpret into a
We
porn.
did that with the real world. We
Oh
did one based on the real world. That was one of those, and you kind of go, this is a reality show, so now we're gonna make a parody of a reality show. Yeah, I totally understand.
Hey, I remember growing up too, like they did This Ain't the Brady Bunch Triple X, and you had Alana Evans playing Florence Henderson's character, like
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I even remember, I think there was one, oh my God, This Ain't Happy Days, and Raquel Devine's playing Marion Ross's character in the movie, and you have the Fonz and like Richie Cunningham. They're teaching him how, like the story is they're teaching Richie how to not be a dork and have sex with all these girls. The influence of the
Yeah.
Fonz,
Well,
which
I did I love Juicy.
okay,
I did the Beverly Thrillbillies. I did Sheepless in Montana.
okay.
They're all of these movies that just have the most ridiculous names, but they were parodies. Use those scripts, but just can't, what are you gonna do?
Well, first and foremost, the Beverly Thrillbillies. It kind of reminds me of, and I'll take everybody back to it, the insult scene in White Chicks with the Wayans brothers and the girls, and they're calling them the Beverly Hillbillies. So think of
Yeah.
like, take the Beverly Hillbillies and then put the Beverly Thrillbillies, and it's kind of like that. It mixed together,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. It's like when
Yeah.
it's like when Paul Rudd had Boner Jams '03. These are some of the scenes that I was really into the summer of 2003 and the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like that's what it kind of reminds you of. Like people would legit make mixtapes of some of their favorite porn scenes.
Mm-hmm. That they would do.
And I think stuff
And
like
yet, we are the most persecuted industry in the world.
I know. I never understood it, but I've always looked at it like this. I think if again, viewing it through the right lens, but also number two, we're all human beings that love the external physical side as well as the mental stimulation. So if you have the stimulation and balance, it works hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree.
And I got to tell you something else, man. What also works is everything that you've done thus far within your tenure and career. And I have to ask you about Exotica because it's such a great community, like we mentioned, people and the fans. Talk about that experience because what an event that they do there.
Um, well, as you can tell, I still have a bit of a cough. I have never been able to escape one convention without coming home with some sort of something. And I try very hard. I do not do the content trading and have never shot at any one convention. My immune system just doesn't, homie, don't play that. I just can't. I never have been able to. And I wish I could. It looks like a lot of fun. I watched a lot of things go on, and that was a great thing. To have so many people. I live on a farm all by myself. I I rescue animals of all kinds, and to live the lifestyle that I do and to have been gone for as long as I have and have so many people come up to me and be so thankful that I was there and thankful for the career that I had had and the things that I did. I have a guy that sent me a pen that he actually created. It's called a Houdini pin. I hope that's not giving too much information on him. But he thanked me from the bottom of his heart because gave him the ability to have his children. They had to go through IVF, which I had to do, so I know how hard it can be. And his wife and he would always watch my movies, and he was having trouble doing what he needed to do at the clinic, and his wife came in with my movies, and that's how they had their children. And I thought, what a fabulous thing that over all of this time, I mean, even something that sounds so odd, I'm just feel so blessed. I have so many people that are loving, adoring fans, I couldn't tell you how the things that they've collected even that they had for me to sign, and so just wanting to stand next to me, and you could feel them like shaking because they just were in awe of, and wow, I never thought that I had that kind of an impact on anybody.
Well,
It was amazing.
I will tell you this. First of all, that gets me right in my heartstrings. Number one, I'm glad those individuals have their kids and they're doing their family things. And also at the same time, too, with everybody, what they collect, I think not only is that beautiful and I think that's wonderful, but I got to tell you straight up and down like 6 o'clock, Dana, you're nine. You absolutely are. Perfect time of what you're doing inside and out. So definitely keep doing what
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Thank you.
The other thing I do also have to bring up too as well, we mentioned Exotica. I got to tell you, so what else can we expect from you not only going in the future, book, documentary wise? I know you definitely have a lot of stories to tell. What are we thinking going forward with your future projects?
Well, that was something I was not expecting that came out of this. I met some absolutely fabulous people. And for years, not just because of what I've done for within the industry, but where I came from, where I grew up, um, things that I know about Hollywood and the Hollywood strip and all of those things. I have been asked to write books that had nothing even to do with the industry. Although I am going to include some of the highlights of it, we're going to start at an earlier age. And I'm really looking forward to doing this book and documentary because I want to give, I want to be able to not only talk about how this industry was and is and can be a family. I want to talk about the right people to be in the industry. I want to talk about not letting what you've gone through in your life make you a victim. They always try to put pigeonhole us. Oh, those people have been abused. Oh, those people have been that's why they don't. No, 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 no. No, it's about rising up. And it's about maybe those things led you to where you are, but how you stand up to it and how you actually shine your light through and don't let that destroy you are some of the things that I want to bring forward in this, which I think a lot of times, whenever somebody does a book or they do a documentary, it ends up being the sad story of how now they're nothing. And I don't believe that to be true. I have gone through so much adversity in my life, and I am the goat or the scapegoat of my family. We all hear about that. I want that to resonate to people to know that you're there for a reason and you are breaking all these things that have gone on in all of these families for so long. I don't want it to just be, oh, here's a person who did, porn for a little while, didn't go into the music industry, and now they're just living on a farm. That's not what the story is. There's a lot more to it, and a lot more things that I have to say. And now that we can do music on our own time and in our own way and release from people who have their own labels as opposed to working for somebody who's going to take you into a back room, I'm going to do music again. And I am absolutely thrilled about that. And I want to shine light on the fact that this is more empowering to people than it is disabling, and dispel some of the myths of you have to be a drug addict or this or that to have been in or to have wanted to or to be able to do it. So there's my rant.
First of all, don't even apologize. As a fellow ranter, we'll be King and Queen Rant over here. It's one of those things, you enlighten, you enrich, and you empower. That's definitely something that really needs to go into any type of profession. And from what you're telling me, and also getting to see everything manifest and come into fruition, definitely something I want to check out. Book, documentary, you got me hooked. I suggest everyone as well take a look and take a listen to what we got going for Miss Dyanna Loren. I got to tell you, listening to your story and just listen to you as a whole, you're kind of like, you hear the jack of all trades term being mentioned for years. You're kind of like a Jill of all trades. I mean, musician, adult star. I mean, doing your stuff, rescuing animals, living on a farm. You really are like a Jill of all trades, my friend.
I want to experience everything in this life, and nothing's going to stop me from doing that. And I suggest everybody else get off your ass and go do nothing's going to stop you. I'm 61. I have an OnlyFans. I have my Instagram. I'm on Sex Panther. I am going to be doing this because it's until I don't feel comfortable doing it anymore. Not because somebody says, oh, look, there's wrinkles. Or I don't know. I might be 80. That's okay. If I feel like this is what I want to do, I'm going to do it.
I look at it like this because my mom is also in her 60s. She actually just turned 66 back in January. Love you, Mom. It's one of those things, too, where I look at it like this. My mother, 5 years ago, was diagnosed with inflammatory breast cancer. This woman went through chemo. surgery, and 2022 had her surgery. Woman's been cancer free for 4 years now, and she still keeps going. She's had her effects,
Oh,
but she still keeps going. Like
God
that's
bless
what
her.
thank you. Thank you. So I say that to anybody, no matter in life, do what you're doing. And I got to tell you something over here. Age ain't nothing but a number. 61, you're still a
That's
cutie.
right.
You're still a cutie beauty and a hottie with a body, and you look amazing. So I want to put
Well,
that out there.
thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. You should definitely be proud of how you look and what you're doing because you are wonderful. And one other thing I do have to mention before we close this thing out. First of all, you're a delight and such a wonderful person to talk to. I'd love to have you back on for a
Thank
round.
you. I would love to be anytime you want, baby.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, two things I always love asking at the end of this because you've done so much in your life within your tenure in your career and just the overall experience of life. It's a two-part question. What are some of the things that you're grateful for in this life? And number two, what are some of the things that you're grateful for within your career? It could be music, the adult entertainment industry. What are some things you're grateful for in those respective tenures?
Well, it's funny that you asked that because last night, I don't even know what happened. I was watching something, I was scrolling, and something came across, and it was talking about adversity and it was talking about this and that. And yesterday, I actually found a kitten that, covered in just no hair, and she's adorable little thing. And I was ugly crying, feeling so blessed. Just, I thank the universe, God, whoever it is that anybody has in their heart for even the bad things that I've gone through because it has made me who I am. All of the things that somebody else might go, God, I don't have any money, or I'm sick, or I my family doesn't talk to me, or whatever the case may be. That's leading you to where you're going. It might be hard at this time, but that's going to change. It all always changes. And I am so grateful just for, I mean, I have I've danced for the Prince of Brunei. I have been accidentally introduced to the Queen. I've spoken in front of the Senate. I have done adult movies that have been recognized all over the world. I have been in every men's magazine across the universe. I have lived more by the time I was 40 than most people do in their whole life. And how could I not be thankful for that? I mean, every step of the way, I have just been blessed with so many wonderful, wonderful experiences. And even the ones that weren't wonderful got me to the place that I needed to be. And I'm so thankful. And thank you for asking that question because last night was really one of those defining moments where you're going, I just feel so lucky to be here. I really do. And there's so much more to come. So
And we're
much more.
and we're lucky and blessed to have you. Moments and memories created, and more moments and memories yet to be created. I see you. I see you, and you're doing all those things. It's absolutely wonderful to see on your journey. And the other
Thank
part,
you.
you're very welcome. The other part, I got to ask you now. So we got to back the car up in here. You talked about accidentally meeting the queen. How do you accidentally meet the? What happened? I got to ask about this.
Well, so we were at, and now I'm at a loss for words, where you go to watch the races but you have to wear the hats.
Oh, the
Um
stupid racetrack, the course.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I, for the life of me, I can't remember what that is called. And it was 3 days, and I went 2 years. And this one particular time, we're standing out in the front, and in the back, you have there's like places to eat, and you have places where people are sitting down drinking, and you have all these tents everywhere, and you may be part of one or another. And some barristers and some different people from Parliament, believe it or not, who were friends of my ex-husband's when we were doing the rhinos in London. We had already been for a tour, and saw like so many things that nobody ever gets to see in Parliament. Like, it was closed, and I got to go around there. So we're at this thing, and I'm like, I'm wearing a really tight skirt, and I'm wearing this big giant hat, and I don't want to go all by myself to go to the bathroom. So I said to one of the barristers, I said, "Is there someplace close by that I can go?" And he goes, "Let me take you to where, it's the Queen's private area," but she wasn't there. So he takes me upstairs and I go into this bathroom along this long hallway. And he says, "I'll be right downstairs. Just hurry up because we never know when she's going to show up." She showed up while I was in the bathroom.
Oh no.
And of course there's all these people, and it's not, there is security, but once she gets to a place where, like, they shut down a couple of like Harrods if she wants to go shopping, but then it's not like there's a million people. It's not like you would think, like how when the president goes, it's these are her places, so they're not expecting for somebody to come out of the bathroom. And it was one of three times that this actual statement has been made to me. And I come out of the bathroom and I kind of put my head down because I see all these people coming, and there she is walking. And she looks over with her, and she's got her hands kind of, with her gloves, and she's got her purse on her arm. And she looks over and she says, "Is this one of ours?"
Oh my god.
And the people with her were like, "No, mom." And like, and she turns to me and she goes, "Quite stunning," and walked away.
Wow. Wow.
And so I just stood there till everybody and somebody came up and said, "How did you get in here?" And I said, "My apologies. I I was told she wasn't here and somebody just led me up. My apologies." "Oh, you're American." And they just walked away. So yeah, it was an experience that I will never forget, and kind of humiliating at the same time. I'm probably the only porn star in the world that ever can say that she was that close, but yeah.
Well, as they say, God save the queen, if you know what I mean. So, absolutely. I mean, that's a hell of a story and a hell of experience. And everything that you've done within your life is just hella good and just keep on dancing, to quote No Doubt and Gwen Stefani. So, I have to ask you this before we close this thing out. We mentioned the socials earlier, and you gave us a little taste, a little flavor, if you will, of what you've been doing on that. Where can we follow you on the socials, Dyanna?
Well, on Instagram, I am the real Diana Loren. And on OnlyFans, I am Diana Loren. I was lucky enough to get, because they make you verify. On Sex Panther, I am Diana Loren. And loyal fans, I am Diana Loren. And that's DyannaLauren. And you can, find me pretty much anywhere. And I am soon, within the next few weeks, going to have a website up too. So look
Oh,
for that because it's going to be great.
hell yes. Links will be in the description for all of Diana's links and her work and everything in between, because Diana is a sensational talent and we will definitely see more of her in the upcoming year. So I cannot wait to see everything that comes your way. And folks, if you want to check out this YouTube, subscribe. It's S&M Network Shows, where you get shows like On the Mic with Mike featuring great guests like this one right here and so much more great content. And also, I have to ask Diana, do you have any final words for your fans that have been supporting you since day one? Any final words to the peeps?
Thank you. Thank you for standing by me. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your open arms, no matter how old I get, no matter what I choose to do. Thank you for always being there. And I look forward to seeing all of you soon.
You're like a wine. You only get better with time, my dear friend. And with that being said, y'all, thank you for listening to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. And as I always say, not just my mindset, but overall, when it comes to people and women and specifics, beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Miss Diana Loren, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome.